What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Before we get into the show tonight, we actually have a great show for you. Before we get into the show tonight, let's bring up our sponsors. Shout out to Fiverr. Go to Fiverr.com. We also have links up on the Dat Feeling podcast page. Go to Fiverr.com. Click on that link on our page and you will be able to go to get whatever you need for marketing, promotion, animation, comic strips, movies, whatever you want to do, they have it for you there. Go to Fiverr.com. Shout out to our other friends over at the Plugs Earbuds. Give me a call. We need to talk. But shout out to the Plugs. Go to www.gettheplugs.com and shout out to the Patreon. Go to Dat Feeling Podcast at patreon.com/Dat Feeling Podcast. We have a plethora of new stuff, new tiers. Our $10 tier has a loyalty rewards program attached to it. Go sign up today. We have a lot of different stuff going. Fun fact, we also have a comic strip coming to you guys. I will announce that shortly what the name of that comic strip is going to be, but we're working right now to bring you guys a new comic strip. This will be Patreon exclusive, so make sure you guys subscribe so you can get this new comic strip that we're bringing to you guys. Eventually that is going to evolve into a animated cartoon, so please support the brand. Go to patreon.com/Dat Feeling Podcast. Shout out to the Bandcamp. We got brand new music coming. Just stay tuned because the end of the year is going to be nuts. So datfeeling.bandcamp.com. Go there, subscribe to the brand, and I'm rocking some merch tonight. Go to the Teespring, spring.com, search Dat Feeling Podcast. Make sure you cop some merch. It's hoodie season. All the brands will be coming out with some new hoodies. We also have rep your hometown designs coming out. So make sure y'all go to Teespring at spring.com, search for Dat Feeling Podcast. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of tonight, I do want to say that I myself neither identify as a Republican or a Democrat. I kind of meet myself in the middle. Whatever plan sounds good to me is where I really lean. I really lean more Democrat than Republican on a lot of things. So I guess that makes me more of a, quote unquote, liberal. Frankie D, the fabulous one, my co-host. What's up, man?
What's up?
Welcome back. You want to tell the people what you identify as, or you want to keep this a secret?
I don't keep anything a secret. I identify as a Republican. That's what it is.
All right.
I go more conservative on things, and that's just I have no shame in the game.
And we're friends. As you guys Absolutely. Can see, we're friends. We have a whole bunch of debates. Tonight's going to be one of these debates because the reason it took us so long to get on air, we were having this debate.
Right.
We were having this debate off air. So I was like, hold on, we need to really go live so we can get the full scope of this, and the people can engage with it as well. So. The midterms, man.
Yeah.
They happened. A lot of what people expected to happen kind of didn't happen, or maybe it did, but just not to the expectations of either party, really. Because really there was this expected red wave, so to speak, where you have a whole bunch of Republican seats flip and they gain control of the House and the Senate. This still looks likely. We still have a couple of races that haven't been called. They're too close to call. But it appears that it's going to be likely that the House is going to be controlled by the Republicans and the Senate. This one may be up for grabs. I know they have the runoff with Warnock and Herschel Walker. I have thoughts on that race. we have that runoff coming. I think Arizona and Nevada are still too close to call at this point, but it appears that they're going to be successful in flipping the 2 seats they need to get control of the Senate. That appears likely. Whether that happens or not, it remains to be seen. So, what are your thoughts right now on the midterms?
I just think that I mean, it wasn't a red wave, it wasn't a red tsunami as people thought it was going to be for the party. And I mean, we had here in Texas, we had our thing going on with O'Rourke and Abbott,
Right.
and I knew that O'Rourke wasn't gonna win this thing. This was gonna go Abbott.
It was a long shot. It was a long
shot. He's failed this twice. This is 2 times that he's failed, and I don't really think, honestly, that his heart was in it. I just think the dude did it for the money, and that's what it is. And I'm all for saying that basically, people may not agree with Abbott, but they're damn sure not going to vote for O'Rourke. It's kind of a situation where people may not have agreed necessarily with Trump, but they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. So
that's an interesting spin.
That's just what it was. You know what I mean? And I think when it comes down to the red wave and what didn't happen and just, I think what it comes down to, honestly, is that there was nothing said by the Republican Party that we have all these issues going on with inflation and we have the high gas prices and all this other stuff that's going down. I never heard anybody come out and say, well, what are you going to do differently than your Democratic counterpart? No one came out and said they had a plan. No one came out and said we have an agenda. We just basically go, this guy is backed by President Trump, and that's going to be the guy you're going to go for.
And
my personal opinion.
That's interesting.
My personal opinion. I think that we have 2 Republican parties. We have the Republican Party that's currently there, and then you have the MAGA Republican Party. And I think that Trump is kind of a detriment right now to the process, because I think the reason why Dr. Oz didn't win in Pennsylvania is because there was no money put towards him. Fetterman may not be the best candidate, but Oz had the backing of Trump, but Oz didn't have the backing of McConnell. Because if you have these people that are aligned with Trump in Trump's ideologies, McConnell doesn't have that support. So McConnell's not going to back these people. You know what I'm saying?
He distanced himself from Trump January 6th.
Exactly. So I think what it comes down to is that they need to just have a plan for 2024 and just go from there. But me personally, just feel like we're going to ride the momentum of the Trump train, but there's no agenda here on how to fix these situations. I'm all for having a debate with the Democratic counterparts to come up with solutions that can fix these problems, not just boom, 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 nothing happens.
Right. Well, there was a lot of that, and we talked about this off air too. There was a lot of that. It was kind of like a hangover midterm, to where you have the Republican Party fresh off the strength of Trump in 2016. Now it's 2022, and Trump's not around. He's been quiet, and now you have to run off your strength. Like, what is your plan? Like, and so that affected the Democratic Party too, because you have these people who are anti-Trump and anti all of that MAGA stuff that won in 2020. Now they have to bring these ideas to the table, and nobody really brought ideas and solutions because, yes, we have inflation. Abortion was a big ticket on a lot of states' ballots. Nobody really brought plans and so forth. So to answer that question that we have from Willie, how do you guys feel about Uvalde voting Abbott based on what happened not too long ago? Most
I'm
people
not
thought that would have
surprised.
flipped him.
We just talked about this before
We
we
talked
started,
about this. Yeah, we
and
talked about this off air
s-
too.
I said this months ago when the Uvalde incident happened and O'Rourke went to the school or wherever they were at and interrupted Cruz and the police chief and Abbott, and he pulled that stunt. I said right there, dude, you just that was it. Because number one, O'Rourke is he's a left wing extremist in all of his views. He's openly has come out and said, "I'm going to take your guns." Not I'm we want to have safer gun. No, I'm going to take your guns. I'm going to take your ARs and all of this. That's what his plan was. So even though this incident happened in Uvalde, you got to remember something. Uvalde is still part of Texas, so they're still going to bleed the Second Amendment. And nobody's going to infringe on the Second Amendment. You don't tread on me, right? So
I
that's
get
kind of
that.
where it was. So he blew it. Is what he
I
did.
get
Even with
that.
all the people coming from California and all these other places where the politics are more favorable liberally.
I wouldn't say
You never.
that
Oh,
because
look at Austin, bro. Look at the way Austin, Texas voted.
no, I'm
They,
talking about California because in
oh shit.
California you still had some of these ideologies that you have here in Texas, like the gun rights. That's ever present in California.
Of course,
Um,
especially in Kern.
yeah, especially in Kern County, where we
Yeah,
both came from. Like
absolutely.
though that ideology is ever present. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be there no matter what. But do you think that the and this is just hearing what you're saying and not being a Republican, do you
Mm.
think that turned a lot of Republicans off him saying that? Or because what if Beto would have came out and said, I want to have common sense gun reform that doesn't infringe on your Second Amendment rights? Would that have helped anything? Because
No.
obviously, and this is coming from a non-Republican point of view,
Mm.
obviously, the way the system is set up now, in the eyes
Mm.
of someone who's not a part of the Republican Party, the way the system is set up now is you have more of these things happening, more mass shootings, uh, and this stuff doesn't seem like it has an end to it. So where does a non-Republican person have to meet someone who's on that side? Where do we meet in the middle? Like, where's the common ground to say we can both get what we want? People don't have to die and you keep your guns. Like, where's that common ground?
Well, I mean, like we talked about this months ago, right here on No Gimmicks, and basically, I'm all for the background checks or whatever, and just to make sure this person's able to carry. But the problem is that the criminal element already has these firearms. So what is going to affect you or me? It's not going to affect them. Majority of
Right.
the gun violence is happening from people who get these firearms, and there's just, I mean, look at what happened in Houston recently with Takeoff. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That's a situation there where that's not going to be a person that's going to follow a background check or do all this and do all that. This is a person that had a firearm illegally. I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
mass shootings and all this stuff. Yeah, these things. Look, this is nothing different, dude, or nothing new. This stuff has always happened. It's always happening. It's just when it gets on the forefront for an agenda, which is what it was this time around. For it, I mean, it happened at the right. I mean, it sucks to say it like this, but this Uvalde situation happened at the right time for O'Rourke to use it for his
For
political gain,
leverage.
for
Yeah.
leverage, to say, hey, this just happened. Abbott didn't do anything about it. What are we gonna do about it? But I think he went after it the wrong way because everybody knows his previous statements about things. Just no
Right.
different than everybody knows the previous statements of Hillary Clinton, and that's the reason why her ass wasn't elected because they already know what she is. Period. So
I can agree with you on that.
I'm like, when it comes to common sense gun control, I kind of think we're kind of, the situation's out of control right now. Even if you was to enact this reform and do this and do that, this situation is out of control, and it's not going to be in control for a long time because too much has happened for you to all of a sudden now we want to gain control. The police are powerless at anything now because of all the defunded police rhetoric that happened over the last couple of years. They're soft on crime. That's one of the big things that Republicans ran on, I will say, was we need to get crime back under control because this is out of control.
But a lot of these ticketed items, a lot of these people that said they want to be tough on crime didn't get elected. So,
well, and that just shows you right there that people. I've always been under the impression that people will go out and just vote Democratic because they don't want to vote Republican. They don't care what the issue is. They don't care what the issue is.
That's a doing of the Republican Party, though. They shot themselves in the foot.
Let me tell you a good example of this. The good example is California with the gas tax. People went out there and voted for this shit and didn't know what they were voting for.
Fucking thing.
Yeah, people didn't know what they were voting for, and they went and voted for it, and then they were complaining about the high ass gas prices. Well, you dumbasses voted for it. You voted for it,
and then voted for it again.
Then voted for it
again. It was on the ballot again.
Exactly,
and they voted for that shit again. Like, come on, bro. What are y'all doing?
Like, my whole thing is that read about the issues that's going on, then make your determination. Don't just be like, okay, well, we're not going to vote Republican because the Republican Party is racist and all this other a bunch of bullshit. No, it's not like that at all. If it was, then I wouldn't be part of the party. Everybody that comes along everything I hear is, oh well, the Republican Party is full of white supremacists and all that. Now then I look at my skin color. Where is the white supremacy?
Okay. I will agree with you
especially from a party that created the Ku Klux Klan. But that's a different story.
I'm gonna agree with you up until this point. Right? You had me up until this point. If that is true, why the fuck does Ron DeSantis get reelected? Because Ron DeSantis is on record, saying this country was not founded on stolen land, which we know it is, and slavery was not that bad of a thing, which we know it was. So how does a person like that get reelected into office, and has continued to do his job? Like, what do people see in that? Because that is, it's wrong, A. B, I'm not going to say it's racist, but it's borderline.
Well, listen, it's racist just like anybody out there that actually wants to go out and celebrate Thanksgiving. That's racist.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's very true.
So I don't celebrate that shit. So when it comes down to DeSantis, hey, that's Florida. I wouldn't expect anything different. That's fucking Florida. Do I agree with DeSantis? No. But do I think that DeSantis will be the front runner for the Republican Party nomination for 2024? Absolutely. And that's where him and Trump are having issues right now. Because Trump knows this.
But we got to get out of this Trumpism. Because
the Trumpism is, let me hold on a second. Hold on.
Go ahead.
The Trumpism is the sickness of the Democratic Party. Because
it's the sickness of both parties.
Everybody is Trump. I hear the Democrats talking more about Trump than the Republicans. Every other time I turn around, it's Trump. That motherfucker lives rent free. That motherfucker lives rent free in the Democratic Party's head. You don't hear the Republicans really talking about Trump. I haven't seen anything on there talking about Trump. I don't hear anybody talking about Trump. Except for January 6th. Yeah, except for January 6th. Okay, I don't hear anybody talking about Trump. There's always some Democrat that's talking about Trump. A lot of these people's platforms were built on Trump.
A lot of the Republican Party was built off Trump.
The endorsement of Trump for the Republican Party. That's the difference between having an endorsement and then talking about this dude is this.
That's
this dude
Trump.
Is that. He ain't even the president anymore.
It don't matter because if the Democrats are shouting this, it's because the Republicans are bringing people in with this ideology. They're going to tie it to him.
The ideology never left.
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm telling you.
But you know why the ideology never left? You know why the ideology never left? It's because they keep pushing the shit every damn day. Somehow everybody's like in a week, they're going to be talking about Trump again.
Because he's gonna. Well, they talked about it today. He plans on announcing he's running next week.
Right, and DeSantis is gonna run too. So that's where you got a problem.
Okay, I mean, but realistically, both candidates are horrible candidates. Realistically, if we can be really real about it, they're both horrible candidates. Like, what is your plan? We know Trump's going to rule off chaos. We're not even saying preside. This motherfucker's going to rule off chaos. And pretty much we're going to go right back to where we were in 2020. That's pretty much the outcome. But I think that's what I'm saying. We have to get away from that. We have to get away from that so we can get shit done. Like,
that would be DeSantis.
Nothing's going to get done if the Democrats are shouting Trump, Trump, Trump. But y'all keep bringing motherfuckers in with these ideologies. Like, that's not helping either. It's not.
That's where DeSantis would come in that play, because while Trump is going to build, quote unquote, on chaos, DeSantis is Trump light. He's Trump light, but he's smart. And
that's what I'm saying.
There's a problem now because Trump was talking shit about DeSantis every day. So now the people in Florida are like, hey, fuck you, Trump, because how dare you say this is about DeSantis? So now you got another, divide, situation going on here. So it's going to be very, very interesting coming up what's going to happen. But we got to get past this situation first. Then we'll talk about 24. The situation right now we have is, Warnock and Walker. Okay, that's one of the big races going on. And I don't know. I think Walker's going to take it.
No, because you have an independent in there that's taking the votes.
Exactly. Exactly. See, that's where once again, you knew that this motherfucker had no choice or no chance in hell of winning, and they still voted for the bastard. Those votes could have went off to Walker, and even if Walker doesn't,
either one, it could have went to anybody. Yeah, it could have went to either one of these candidates, but. And looking at that race, I said the same thing I said. I thought about a show we did, and I urged people, stop fucking voting independent because they're not going to win. You have two parties with way too much money for you to even have a chance. Bernie Sanders was the closest one we've seen to anybody. We learned this lesson with Ross Perot, but Bernie Sanders probably was the closest person to anybody to get within a few million votes of a presidency. So, or any type of major office. But come on, y'all got to do better.
Well, I will say this, I mean, it's right now it's too close to call, and there's going to be a runoff, election. And what it's going to be is it going to, if there's a special election, the thing is going to be, can you drive these people? Can Walker with Governor Kemp drive these people to the polls to vote for him on the ticket? But I think in order for him to do this, he's got to distance himself away from Trump. And I don't think he's going to do that.
Everybody does, because if you look at the races, every single candidate that Trump endorsed did not win.
And that's a problem. I mean, you look at Pennsylvania with fucking Fetterman, how anybody can vote for Fetterman. It's just beyond me. But it's just basically, I'm going to vote Democratic regardless of the issues. That's pretty much where it comes down to. Nobody, I mean, that's what it is. People don't give a shit about the issues. They're just going to vote Democratic. And I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly the way I voted when I went and voted the other day. I knew the top races that were happening here in Texas, but the other ones I didn't know because I just knew that the governor's race and the attorney general and all that. Everybody who was on the ballot that was a Democrat or a Republican, I just picked them because it is what it is. I don't want to leave that. I did not want to vote for a candidate, but I know I'm not going to vote for a Democrat because I don't see eye to eye with Democrats on really anything unless there's something that we meet down the middle. Because the bottom line is that Democrats, you lean more toward your situation is you are in the middle. You don't identify with either party, but you consider you're more liberal. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, no. So my voting, so there were quite a few Republican candidates, and I did my research on everything. There were quite a few Republican candidates that, like, for instance, crime, like I agreed with. Crime, infrastructure, education, like a lot of these issues, I identified with a lot of Republicans that were on this ticket. So I voted for them. There were quite a few Democrats that I identified with on the same issues, but in other offices that I voted for based on those things. So, and I also took account into a person's stance on abortion because that was a big ticketed item.
That was a big topic,
yeah. So I took account into like pretty much everything.
I did that with a couple of people.
Republicans. Yeah, I went Republican some ways. I went Democrat some ways, and in only one case, I went Green Party because they won the ticket, and they really presented some shit that I was interested in.
Well, a couple of days before the election, I've been getting these flyers in the mail, and it's basically talking about the crime situation and all that. So I did do my research on a couple of these people, but the rest of them I just didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to go out there and just do my part and just get it on. As I just got off work, I didn't give a shit. So I did my part. My main thing is that we can have these different people in the office, but the main one is going to be the governor because the governor is going to run the show here. That's pretty much where it's going to go. So I need to get the governor's race. So you put Abbott in there. Hey, listen. My thing is, I think that Abbott has done a tremendous job with the border, even though he was out a bad hand. Because I'm all about people coming to this country, but my thing is come over here legally. Because there are people that spend thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get legal citizenship here. And they're on the back burner, but somebody can just instantly just walk across the damn border. And that's a problem. And when it follows is crime follows in these areas, violence follows, all types of different things happen. And that's where I think Abbott really resonated with the voters, is he was really effective on the immigration situation by busing a lot of these illegal immigrants to Democratic controlled states and cities is where he sent them.
I will give you that, and I will also give you Beto didn't say anything about that. So I will give you anything
about it. He didn't say anything about it. Beto knew that he didn't have a chance in hell of winning this election. And I think it was all a money grab for him. All the people that donated to his cause, how much of that money did he actually put into the campaign? He knew he wasn't going to win. He knew he had no chance in hell. So I'll go ahead and try again. I would have thought Matthew McConaughey would have had a better shot in hell than Beto O'Rourke if he had chose to run.
I don't like that simply because of the celebrity. Like, give me some, and I know he has roots in Texas, but give me somebody that's been here and been through the shit and, held an office here and can speak to the everyday person now. So give me that person.
Good luck with that.
And I will give you a couple of, and this is from the top up because inflation was also a big ticket item. And a couple of Republicans in the area here I voted for because they presented valid arguments on how to deal with inflation. You didn't get a lot of that from the Democratic side because the plan was what's working in Washington. We just have to wait and see how that holds up. Like we know inflation's hurting. We know it hurts, but there's a plan in place, and let's see how that works out. That didn't really mesh well with me as a voter. So if you presented me a decent plan on how you plan to tackle inflation, I was going to vote for you. And in those instances, I kind of swung Republican. So I'll give you, you presented some valid points. What I want from going now forward from both parties is present plans. I don't care about the rhetoric anymore. And I think America's getting to that point where they're starting to care less about the rhetoric and more about what's going on in their lives. So give me candidates that can speak to what's going on and how to tackle it. Instead of this person's a Trump guy, this person's anti-Trump, or this person's we have this going and I'm here to take this. Like I'm kind of over that. You know what I mean? Like give me plans. If you're not coming with solutions, then as a voter, you don't deserve my vote. I don't care what party you're from. If you're not giving me a solution, you don't deserve my vote.
And that's kind of my feeling on it as well. And I've tried to have these conversations with people who are Democrats or swing the liberal, left wing way, and it's just like and a lot of and you're not that way, but a lot of them are. It's like talking to a brick wall because they're gonna feel the way they feel and they're gonna think the way they think, and I'm gonna think the way I think and I'm gonna feel the way I feel, and when you put those two together, nothing gets solved, and I think that's where a lot of the situation is right now. That's going on in Washington. That's why there's so much divisiveness between the two parties. Is because you have some people that are like you mentioned, the Trump ideology.
People are stuck.
People are stuck in limbo with stuff. But at the same time, you got people have to remember, Republican, Democrat, whatever, we're all getting fucked because it doesn't matter. I mean, inflation's going to hurt you, and inflation's going to hurt me. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we can be on opposing sides politically, but at the same time, shit, we're all screwed. It doesn't matter who you vote for. I mean, do I think Abbott's going to do anything? No. I'm being honest. I can be real about it. I don't think he's going to do jack shit about anything. But I'd rather have him in there because he's someone who has a political history, who's who has been the governor here, then vote for this other guy here who I don't think has a heart, whose left wing ideologies just does not resonate with me at all. Just don't. And I will say, as a Republican, one thing I will say that I think that Abbott needs to do, and this shit needs to change. They need to, abolish the whole thing with marijuana here in Texas. I think that at this point in 2022, we're still talking about marijuana and trying to criminalize marijuana. I think it's ridiculous. When you have so many more other dangerous, drugs out there, the fentanyl and all this other shit you got going on, and we're still talking about marijuana like this is the 1960s or something like that. This evil thing that actually is here from the earth, was made for me and you. Take advantage, man. Take advantage. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you on that. This is where we find common ground. Legalize that weed.
Yeah, so that's legalize marijuana, dude. I will say that. I don't smoke, but I know people that do smoke. So legalize marijuana and stop trying to criminalize that shit. That's one thing I think they need to work on.
I don't smoke it because it's illegal, but the moment it's legal, I'm partaking.
And the moment it's legal, you're gonna be Bob Marley up in this motherfucker. So I think they need to work on that. It's just you gotta just change with the times, bro. Like that thing there. And it's like if they were to legalize marijuana here in Texas, just think about the amount of revenue that would come to the state off of that.
I think what's really killing that is Laredo. I think that's what's killing it. Because a lot of drug traffic happens through Laredo. And I don't know if they're sure that if they do legalize it, that it's gonna come in the right way.
California still hasn't figured it out, and they legalize it.
I know. I know.
Only one that's actually figured this out correctly to do it correctly was Colorado.
Washington's doing really good on it too. Washington and Oregon. Oregon's doing pretty good on it. But Oregon's a drug state anyway. They just need some.
But marijuana is not even a drug.
Yeah, I know. But
it's a plant.
According to Texas, it's the most dangerous drug on the market.
Yeah, because you know why? Because of fucking old head Republicans that need to get the fuck out so the new breed can come in and say, we got more important things to worry about if somebody rolling a blunt.
Legalize that weed, buddy.
Yeah. So that's
keep my guns, give me weed. Shit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That.
Maryland passed made marijuana legal. Shout out to Maryland.
Yeah, I will give them that. That's good because they're rolling with the times. You're not stuck here, stuck here like it's the 1960s and shit. That bad. Oh, what are you taking the marijuana pills? Shit like that. Like all that, buddy. Like,
no wonder my homie was celebrating yesterday. Shit. Congratulations,
legalize this shit. Yeah, legalize marijuana.
Yeah, that's like damn near a third of the country. That's more than a third of the country.
If I run for, let me tell you right now. If I ever run for politics one day, I'm gonna make sure that shit gets legalized here in Texas. And then you'll be like, oh my God, he's a Republican. You damn right I am, because I believe somebody should be able to get faded when they want.
The bill for that shit being legal is at the Senate. They won't sign it, like federally.
Well, there you go. But here's the thing. And that begs the question here. So that bill's been at the Senate and they won't sign it, right? Well, who's been controlling the Senate and the House this whole time? There you go.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's segue into some other shit. So, on this day,
I see clearly.
The Montreal Screwjob.
Is it still crying about it?
So there were discussions today being had. And I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Looking back on the Montreal Screwjob, who's more at fault? Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, or Vince McMahon?
Vince.
You think Vince? How so?
Because Vince McMahon had an agreement with Bret Hart where Bret Hart had full creative control for the last 30 days of his contract. Vince McMahon didn't honor that agreement because he felt supposedly that Bret was going to take the belt to WCW, which Bret was never going to do. Vince was pitting Shawn versus Bret. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon in that situation was Tony Khan. Not being able to control the situation that's going on backstage. So It's all Vince's fault. That whole Montreal thing, that's all Vince. Vince did that. Where I have an issue with Bret is, okay, the whole notion of I'm not going to lose in Canada. It's like, well, I'm Frank D, and damn it, I refuse to lose in Los Angeles. Hell no. That's stupid. You do business. You do the business on the way out. That's just how it goes. It doesn't matter if you don't like Shawn Michaels or the heat was this. At the end of the day, This is all scripted entertainment. You do the job on the way out. That's just, you do the job. So they're all at fault. Shawn Michaels is at fault for being an asshole. Bret Hart is at fault for taking it too real. And then Vince McMahon was at fault for not controlling the situation and letting it get out of control. That's what I believe. The Montreal Screwjob could have been easily avoided if Vince had taken control and says, this is what we're going to do, and honored Bret's creative control. If they would have came to some sort of an agreement. Because in my opinion, when he didn't honor the creative control in Bret's contract, Vince McMahon breached the contract. So that's it. So
I'm gonna say Vince.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Vince to a fault because, and I know what was going on through Vince's head. He just had Medusa, not too long before this, show up on Monday Night Raw with the Women's Championship and dumping it in the trash on live TV.
So you meant Monday Nitro.
Monday Nitro, sorry. Monday Nitro. She showed up on Monday Nitro, dumped the belt in the trash on live TV. And I know it made him feel away. I know it did. Here's your top guy who's supposed to relinquish his belt and pass the torch to a new top guy in Shawn Michaels. They don't like each other. This is evident. Bret comes to you and says, I'd rather do this the next night, not in Montreal. I'd rather do this on Raw. So plan out a finish, go to the finish. I'll relinquish the belt on Monday Night Raw. Vince hears this, knowing that this is his last day, and it's like, he could show up, he could not show up, he could show up on Monday Nitro. For all I know, it's his last day. I have to do something. I have to get this belt off this man. Because I have a feeling he's not going to do this the right way. I have to get the belt off of him.
See, I totally disagree with that. Because look at Vince. Vince got Bret and the Bulldog and all these guys because Vince had acquired Stampede from Stu.
Mm-hmm.
Never paid Stu for money for it though. That came out. Bret said that Vince never paid Stu money for it, but either way, he acquired Stampede from Stu. There's a relationship there. Bret Hart looked at Vince like a father, so he was never going to take that belt to WCW. There would be no point in doing that. Bret was a traditionalist in that respect. He respected the business. So he was never going to take that belt down there. I think Vince is full of shit. That was all a sham, just like his marriage to Linda was a sham.
We're going deep.
I'm not going deep. I saw the picture the other day in the restaurant. I was like, oh shit. Look at that. Like, look, this attitude there, Vince sitting in the restaurant. Like, looking, staring at this woman right in the eye. Like, I'm just the way he was looking at her. I'm going to rip those clothes off you later tonight. That's how he was looking at
her. Oh, shit. So you think it's a sham?
Yeah.
I still think he's at fault.
They're all at fault.
Yeah, maybe they all are. They are.
Bret took it too real. Bret took it too seriously. It's at the end of the day, it's like you got to do business.
Is he at fault for not breaking kayfabe?
He did break kayfabe. He did break it.
Once it happened.
As soon as the Montreal incident happened, he went to a newspaper and did an interview saying that Shawn Michaels never really beat him. So that's breaking kayfabe. It's like all those other times that Bret won the belt, those were real. But this one time he lost to Shawn. No. So you did break kayfabe.
Was it really breaking kayfabe? I think he went extreme on the kayfabe.
He
This
went.
man never beat me. This man never beat me. They cheated. They stole my title.
Well, I mean, it's breaking. It's breaking kayfabe in the sense of you're dropping the illusion here of
Yeah,
what's
you broke the wall
of
down.
what's going on here. Like you're
Yeah,
exposing the business. You know,
yeah, you
all those
broke the
other
wall.
titles I won, I'm Bret the Hitman Hart, and I legitimately beat them. But this one time, no, Sean Hickenbottom, Michael Hickenbottom actually, he didn't win. It's just.
I mean, hey, it's a relationship between a man and his boss, man, and you know, unfortunate. Now the ramifications of that shit.
The ramifications was simply this. We
We
got
got the best fucking era in wrestling ever.
the ramification was we got the evil Mr. McMahon character, and WCW had Bret Hart handed to them on a silver platter, and they didn't know what
They
to do with it.
fumbled that bag.
They
They
fumbled it.
fumbled that bag.
Big time. Bret didn't do
They
anything.
fumbled that bag.
And there's a YouTube channel that I follow and support. It's called Wrestling Bios, and there's a show he does called Reliving the War, which is basically taking a look at Raw and Nitro week after week and seeing which show was better, which was the best. And at this point, you're about to see, because they're in 1998 now. You're about to see the tide change, because we're 1 week away in this series. We're 1 week away from WrestleMania 14. So shit's about to start turning in a minute.
Oh yeah.
WCW is about to start getting their ass handed to them. And I'm like, all of this, they screwed Bret. So Bret talks about being screwed by Vince. WCW screwed Bret big time.
No lube,
not even giving
no lube, no kiss,
not even giving
no
kiss.
interaction.
Exactly.
You just
they just
in the
nothing.
door.
In the door. That's it. The way his shit ended, disappointing.
Tragic.
And it's crazy because they were in all it was they were going, he was going for this right here. This is what it was. This is what it was. And Vince said that Bret was going to take this belt to WCW and drop it in the trash. Bullshit. Let's just be honest about it. You had signed Bret to a 20-year contract or whatever the fuck it was, and you said you couldn't pay him anymore. And I got to get rid of this guy. And that's just what it was. Vince was going into a whole other direction. Bret didn't agree with the direction, and that's pretty much what happened. I don't agree with it, but that's what it was. Now, we put this in perspective of modern day of what's going on right now. The victim of the latest screw job was Austin Theory.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Is he being buried?
Oh, fuck yes. Oh, yeah. You cannot tell me that when have you ever seen someone win the Money in the Bank briefcase and say, I'm going to cash that in for the U.S. Championship?
Never in the history of never.
Never.
No. Never in the history of never. That's
what I heard.
No one has ever cashed that in for a secondary title.
Right. So what I heard is that Triple H is not very high on Austin Theory. He was not high on Austin Theory when Austin was in NXT as part of the Way. So that was Vince's project, and he needed to get that briefcase off of him, so he shut that shit down. That's the word going around. So he does not see anything in Austin Theory.
I had a theory, but
that's crazy.
You blew that one out of the water. So I'm thinking Austin Theory is the Triple H to Triple H's Vince McMahon.
You buried my guys.
I'm gonna fucking bury you.
Yep. Yep.
I am going to demolish you.
Looking
Day
back,
one.
looking back, look at the situation. Looking back at SummerSlam. Okay, when we're going to SummerSlam, Austin Theory was teasing, cashing in on Roman Reigns. Now you cashed in on Seth Rollins for the U.S. Championship. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, and you lose. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but they did a double turn on Monday with Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I saw
it.
That was a smart move.
Yeah, Lashley's better as a heel. Yeah, Lashley's better as a heel.
That actually happened at Crown Jewel, which let's take a sidebar real quick because I feel like this needs to be talked about. Logan Paul versus fucking Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel.
Haven't seen it yet.
You need to watch that match. And this is, keep in mind, I don't like Logan Paul. I'm not a fan of Logan Paul, but you need to watch that match. That was a fucking banger. And I came out of this match with two opinions. One, Logan Paul is a good wrestler, like really good wrestler. He went in there, he hit his spots, he told a story along with Roman Reigns. He held his own. The only part of that match I did not like is when Jake Paul came out. And I was like, this is too much. But other than that, phenomenal match. I urge you to watch this match.
Well,
go
ahead.
My second opinion.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is probably the most selfless wrestler I've ever seen. For him to go out there and have that type of match, he was really giving in this match. Like he let Logan get his shit in. And for a guy that's had 3 matches in the WWE, like I don't see anybody else having that kind of trust in anybody. I don't care what their skill level is. 3 matches in the WWE, you wrestle Roman Reigns for the title, and it ends up being a really phenomenal match. That speaks volumes of Roman Reigns. I came out of that match with a shit. Like, I already had a shit ton of respect for Roman Reigns, but after that match, my respect level is through the roof for Roman Reigns. Like, I want to see him succeed.
Well, Roman is business.
Yeah.
Roman is going to do business. He doesn't give a shit if it's Saudi Arabia. He don't give a shit if it's, Tokyo, Japan. He's going to do business. And with Logan Paul, I mean, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul either, or his brother. But I will say if they were going to try to do something with Roman or the Usos versus the Paul, brothers, that would
generate a lot of money. Yeah, it would. It's
not gonna happen because dude messed up his knee, like tore shit up in his knee, so he's gonna be out for a minute.
Yeah, he is at least a year. At least a year.
So that's gonna be the end of that. And I'll tell you one thing I do like. I really like the. I was really critical of him at first, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm actually really starting to like the Judgment Day.
Yeah, me too. That's weird.
Yeah.
Especially Dom. Dom is like I'm
Not
starting
so much
to
Dom.
No, I'm actually starting to dig Dom. Like I see where this is going.
I'm more inclined I'm really high on Priest.
I've been a fan of Priest.
Yeah, I'm really high on the dude has his every time he comes out there, he's got his Scott Hall thing going on, which I think is fucking awesome.
Dope, yeah.
Yeah, that's just I mean dope. Priest is good. I mean Finn Balor, Finn Balor is the man. So what can you say about that? Right.
Perfect guy to come in and lead that faction too. I didn't like it at first, but
I didn't like it at first. Didn't like it,
yeah.
but it kind of fits now. They make the House of Black look like shit. I'm just being honest. So this is the time for the House of Black to kind of regroup, redo it. Why Abaddon is not being used in AEW is beyond me. When that's the closest thing you have to Bray Wyatt, don't understand that at all. Don't get that. I'm actually
this is
digging,
a dead horse I don't want to kick anymore.
Yeah, I'm digging Jeff Jarrett at AEW. I think that was a smart move.
Love that move.
The Last Outlaw. That I'm digging it. I enjoyed Jeff's work leading up to the Ric Flair's last match. So I'm glad he's there, and I think he will bring some structure to AEW. The guy used to run TNA,
and they brought him in with Jay Lethal.
Yeah, and Sanjay
that
Dutt.
was a great move. Yeah, that was a great move.
Yeah. So that's a great move there. Still kind of on the fence with the MJF being a babyface.
I haven't watched Dynamite yet, but I'm hoping this is a real.
I haven't watched it yet either. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, to be honest, unless something significant happens there. But I mean, so far so good. They're trying different things. WWE's trying different things. I'm really enjoying Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
That shit there is that's some good shit he's on there. Dude's basically having and running an angle with himself, and I think it's brilliant. So,
if you can pull that off, you are the fucking man, and he's pulling it off.
Right? Yeah, definitely. So I'm digging that. I'm digging. I'm digging it. I just wish when it comes to WWE they would turn the Thunderdome off.
You know what? I was listening to the radio this morning, and they had a caller call in that was at Monday Night Raw, and he said, you know, throughout the show, like you could hear, but he was like, when they went to commercial break, they were allowed to do different shit, and it just led to when they came back, like you could tell they were coming back from commercial break, and it just felt flat. And he was like, yeah, you could hear like the pumped in noise a little bit. But he was like, when they went to commercial and they were allowed to do their things, like it woke the crowd up. Because the chief complaint about, I guess, last night was that the crowd was dead at certain spots. But he was like, that's not the case, because at certain points, like they were alive. It's just it didn't translate well on TV. And I was like, yeah, they probably had the Thunderdome with that too. So
yeah, especially when the Judgment Day comes out, they're not. You can tell that the noise you're hearing is not, it's not the real sound. It's
genuine crowd noise.
It's artificially put in there, and it just comes off like I don't like it. I wish they would drop that. There's no need for that. If the segment is good, then you don't have to have that. You don't have to rely on that. And that's one thing I don't. I mean, if they would get rid of that Thunderdome shit, I'll be like, okay, this is perfect. What do you think about Nikki Cross dropping supposedly trying to? She had the 24/7 belt and she meant to throw it in the trash and she missed it.
I think that was done purposely.
I don't know why you would do that purposely.
Yeah,
you were supposed to put it in the trash. I mean, nobody's telling you to shoot a jump shot or something. You're walking right past the trash can. All you have to do is just toss the belt in the trash, and she missed it. And Bailey saw this, and Bailey wanted to not break. So,
and she broke. But yeah,
what do you think about? We got War Games coming up too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at War Games we're going to see the return of Sasha Banks and Naomi.
High possibility.
High possibility.
It is Survivor Series.
They put them back in the intro for the shows.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is Survivor Series, bro. Like, if you're not going to debut anybody, which I don't think they are, then that's a perfect opportunity to bring them back.
Right. So, I don't
So
know. We shall see. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do with the War Games on their main roster. What the teams are going to be. Are we going to see the Bloodline versus another team? Is it going to be the OC versus Judgment Day? Not sure where they're going with it. I'm not even
not
sure.
either.
I don't even think Roman's going to work Survivor Series.
I don't see why he would. He doesn't have anybody to really feud with right now.
Right. That's where, yeah. Because apparently the plan was they were going to have, KO and Sami Zayn doing something, but that's been put on hold for right now.
Yeah. Sammy is fucking on fire right now. So.
He is. He actually won me over, so I'll tell you something.
Bro, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that damn segment.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I
When
did.
they were trying to hold, man.
Yeah.
I watched that shit like 5 times, and
Same with
each
me.
time I'm like just laughing at everybody trying to not break, and they're all doing a horrible job.
Right.
It was awesome.
Yeah. And they actually trademarked Uzi. So they actually have a T-shirt that says that shit. Yeah, they actually have a T-shirt that says that. Yeah, feeling a little Uzi. But now he's when it finally happens and Zayn versus Roman Reigns, it's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
So I believe that at the Royal Rumble this year coming up, I believe we're gonna see the return of The Rock. I think The Rock's gonna be at the Rumble to start the match with Roman Reigns. But I was listening the other day, so there's a problem right now with this match, right? So The Rock is kind of like The Rock doesn't have a problem doing the job to Roman. But the issue they're having is that The Rock needs to be really protected because of his movies. Because it was the way it was said is that he's gonna have a movie coming out with Superman. It's gonna be Black Adam vs Superman. Supposedly Henry Cavill is gonna come back and reprise the role as Superman.
He already did. If you've seen
Yeah.
Black Adam.
So The Rock is basically saying that if he loses clean at Roman at WrestleMania, that could affect his box office because people will be like, well, The Rock lost to Roman Reigns. Why the fuck am I going to go watch him in a Superman movie? So
that solution's easy. Bring every Samoan you know and say Roman's the fucking chief and beat the shit out of The Rock.
They could do that, but that's kind of where the problem is right now. And apparently, The Rock and Triple H, like the only people that knew about this was Roman, Vince, and Bruce Pritchard. So Bruce Pritchard is basically relaying this information to Triple H about what the plan was going to be for The Rock.
Oh Lord, that's gonna go south.
And Triple H is basically publicly stated to The Rock, call him. Because I guess The Rock isn't really calling Triple H. And I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't know if The Rock just doesn't want to deal with Triple H. He wants to deal with Vince. Not sure what's going on there.
I don't know, but I mean that solution is simple. That's a simple fix. Y'all just need to have a conversation.
Well, Triple H is telling Rock to call him. But
better call him.
Call Tyrone. Well, call Hunter.
Call Triple H.
Exactly. I'll take the phone call.
Payday.
And I make a prediction right here.
Shit.
I'll make a prediction right now. Next summer of 2023, we're gonna see the summer of Punk in the WWE.
That could happen.
I'm predicting right now.
Real quick.
Yep.
Section 127, right? Because I can't look at my tickets right now. Section 127 or 124?
For what?
Royal Rumble.
Let me see. 1 second here.
I know it's 120 something.
You put me on the spot here live. It's like fucking Sid Vicious. Can I
listen, I need to go in here. I need camera access. Mac, aka your boy, if you're still coming, I'm gonna need you to scoop up some Royal Rumble tickets.
We are in section 104.
104, row 27, right?
Row 27.
Yeah, row 27. All right. So, Mac, get these damn tickets because we gonna be in here. All right. And I'm gonna lose my everlasting mind if The Rock comes out in the Royal Rumble. So that also this also leads to another interesting thing. So
yeah,
if Rock does show up at Royal Rumble, what's the plan with the championships then?
Yes.
So I saw a report that said they had a plan to get the belts off of Roman.
They have a plan. There's a plan and there's a plan. There's a plan with so they have a plan. And one of the plans is that if they don't do the one-on-one match with The Rock and Roman, their plan is to have Jey Uso team with The Rock against Jimmy and Roman Reigns, in which Jey would then turn on The Rock. So there's plans here. There's plans of who's going to dethrone The Rock, or not? I'm sorry, dethrone Roman. The belts. Plan probably is Cody Rhodes.
Which, if that's what's spinning in my head right now. So if we get to the Rumble, Cody enters the Rumble. Cody wins the Rumble.
Right.
But that just leaves the WrestleMania plan in place. Like, how are they gonna pull this shit off?
Well, it would be Roman so Rock and Roman would obviously headline WrestleMania Night 2.
Right.
So
have Roman work 2 consecutive days is what you're saying.
No. If Roman was to say lose the championship before the Rumble, or somewhere on the road to WrestleMania, but I don't know how that would work. I'm not sure right now because you can have Cody come out there, but then it's like, okay, you have Cody come out there and win the Rumble, but then where do you put The Rock? Like, how do you justify that?
Right, exactly.
So I get what you're saying because, like, where does The Rock come into this situation? And like you said, do you have Roman work 2 nights? You had him headline WrestleMania. The first time in history, Roman Reigns headlines 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Both nights of WrestleMania.
I think they could do that, but I think that would be too much.
Well, his schedule has been lighter, so I think he'd be better working both nights.
I think Rock versus Roman should be night 2. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar should be night 1.
I like that idea.
Or Cody versus Bray Wyatt. I think you got to eventually put Wyatt back into the title picture as well.
I would say if that's the plan, drop the belts to Bray, because Bray can carry that.
Well, this is where they really mess themselves up. They mess themselves up by having Roman be the double champion. Right. That's where they screwed it up because you are basically your creative. The creative. You don't have anything for that because like you can't build around this.
Right.
So that's why they got to take one of those belts off Roman. Like, even if it's just basically saying, okay, we're going to take this cat here. Roman's going to defend the WWE Championship at least and have him drop it to somebody. If you do that, then then you can still have Roman as Universal Champion versus The Rock. That's night 2. But night 1, and they can put this out at the Royal Rumble, guaranteed the person who wins the Royal Rumble gets a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania night 1, whoever the champion may be. Something like that.
I like it.
Yeah. But he's just got to get the damn belts off Roman.
Yeah. Most definitely. All right, man. Final thoughts. What you got?
Final thoughts is that if The Rock comes out at the Royal Rumble here at the Alamo Dome, we're going to get funky like a monkey in public. All right?
Oh.
He's going to blow the roof off that fucking place.
I'm going to the bar.
Right.
And I'm going to buy a champagne bottle, if they have it, and we will pop it in celebration.
A touch of the bubbly.
I mean the whole bottle. A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of bubbly.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing.
Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to AEW Dynamite next month.
Me too.
On the 21st here in San Antonio.
I'm going I'm going to Ring of Honor on the 10th.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna catch that Dynamite.
Copy that. Well, I'm gonna bring a sign to the show and it's gonna say, "I wish I was at SmackDown."
I'm gonna bring a sign to the show that says "No Gimmicks Podcast."
You go right ahead and do that.
No Gimmicks Podcast.
Exactly. There ain't no gimmicks around here. So I think that this has been it's been a really good show tonight. We talked politics. We talked about why Vince screwed Brett. We talked about, just all the ongoing shenanigans in sports entertainment. And we'll do the same thing next week. Same No Gimmicks time. Same No Gimmicks channel in public.
The only show where you can have a Republican and somewhat of a Democrat agree on a multitude of topics.
Right.
There you go, America. You're welcome.
Exactly. Bunch of jabrones.
But anyway, if you got nothing else, man, I got nothing else.
No, the only thing I got is the obvious. To help control the pet population, have your pets spayed or fucking neutered. And stop having your damn pets out and about, in the heat. If it's hot to you, then it's hot to them, you bunch of jackasses.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Halloween Ends listen, it was a good Corey Cunningham movie. Just not a good Halloween movie. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
I'm clipping this and I'm gonna put this on the web. That'll be our clip for promotion. All right, you guys. Y'all have a good evening. Take care of each other. Peace.